You have reached Red Steel the Toy Collector Review. I'm your man, Red Steel, and today I'll be reviewing from G.I. Joe Classified Series, The Baroness. G.I. Joe Classified Series Baroness. But before I get to the actual review, I just want to go over some of the vintage awesomeness on this packaging. Up front here, a two-wheel blister tray showing you both the figure and all of accessories inside. In the corner here, you have the G.I. Joe logo, and below that it says Baroness. In the other corner here, you have the 4+, which is the age requirement for this figure, and below that it says Cobra Enemy. In the middle here, you have this beautiful vintage illustration of Baroness. In the corner here, you have the Hasbro emblem. On the back of the packaging here, again in the corner you have the G.I. Joe logo. In the middle you have this file card. On top of that file card it reads Baroness. Below that you have Baroness's profile picture, and down here it says she's part of Cobra. Over here her file card reads Role Cobra Intelligence Officer. Primary specialty Intelligence. Secondary specialty Fixed Wing Pilot. Birthplace Classified. Then over here says graduated from student radicalism into international sabotage and the ranks of Cobra. Then over here you have a cross-up of all the other available figures. G.I. Joe Classified Series Retro Cardback Baroness. Baroness was released on August 1st, 2022 with the suggested retail price of $24.99, and she was available exclusively at Walmart. Baroness was released along with the other G.I. Joe Classified Series Retro Cardback Wave 1 figure, Lady J. Baroness has multiple points of articulation for dynamic posability. Her accessories include her laser rifle, dual pistols, a pair of glasses, and display stand. Baroness stands 6 inches tall, and she is meant for fans ages 4 and up. And now that I have Baroness on my display table, so I want to go over some of her play features and accessories. First, I talk about her display stand. This display stand is full of some awesomeness, because you get this mold detail in the front here with the Cobra emblem. You got a groove in the front here. I'm not sure if that's for like a nameplate of some sort, but these display stands are nice little bonuses that are included with the G.I. Joe Classified Series Retro Cardback figures. Unfortunately, these display stands aren't included with the mainline figures, which is kind of a bummer because I have a lot of figures from that series that do have a hard time standing on their own. But in order to display Baroness on this display stand, you got a peg right there and right there. Bottom of her feet and heels, you have a porthole right there and right there. You just plug these pegs right into her heels just like that, and just like that. And now you have Baroness on her display stand, which is really nice now because now I can go ahead and rotate her around without fear of her falling over. The next accessory I want to bring in are her Trademark glasses. And these have some great detail to them. These are molded out of like a translucent plastic where you can see through the lens. It's outlined with a black frame, which is very, very cool. It's very, very vintage and very, very trademark. Because if you look at Baroness's head sculpt, they did a great job. She's a beautiful figure without the glasses. You get the nice little hair sculpt right here molded out of a black separate plastic. You got the face sculpt. Just the paint detail with the face is just nicely done too. You notice there's 2 grooves inside of her head. So that right there would make it hard for me to display her without her glasses. And number 2, it's very rare occasions you see Baroness without her glasses. She's not the Baroness without these Trademark glasses. When I put these glasses on the Baroness, you get these pieces right there and right there, which actually slide into those grooves on the side of her head. You want to make sure that these tabs or this little peg slides in between the head and hair detail, so it conforms right with the face, which is nice because in the past I've experienced a lot of action figure companies who've tried to do a glass accessory, sunglasses or regular glasses, whatnot, and they're very wonky. They don't conform to the head. They kind of stick out and just they look very, very, very weird. But Hasbro did a good job designing these glasses where they kind of conform to her head, where it looks like a natural part of her head sculpt. Because the original 3 3/4 figure from the 80s, the glasses were actually molded on the face, and they did the eye detail through the lens, which is very wonky too. But here you can actually see her eyes through the translucent plastic of the lens, At certain angles, you can tell that they're actually a separate accessory, but they're so conforming that they look like part of the actual figure. Very nicely done. Because the next accessory I want to bring in are her dual pistols. The dual pistols might seem a little unique because the gimmick behind Cobra is they had a weapon designer, so they're not using traditional weapons. So you'll see Cobra troopers arm themselves with very unique weapons that don't look like traditional weapons. Well, these pistols are the same thing, where they're molded out of like a black plastic, but they have a lot of detail to it. In order to arm Baroness with this pistol, you'll notice that the Classified Series figures have a very unique detail, where they have an index figure that kind of sticks out a little bit. And the hands are nice too, because they're molded out of softer plastic, where you kind of pry the fingers open if you can't fit the handle within the handle to the top. Because a lot of times when you arm your figures, you slide the handle through the top of the fist, but a lot of times the hands closed off so much where you can't really just slide them in. But they do give you the option to pry the fingers open, because they do conform to the original shape eventually down the road. But as you can see, I have Baroness armed with a pistol, but that index finger is wrapped around the trigger, where she kind of has that trigger finger, which is really, really nice. So now I have Baroness armed with her pistol. Very, very cool. You can do that with both hands here, where I'll pry this hand open a little bit. And before it conforms to its original shape, I'm going to slip in that handle. So you can see the index finger went around the trigger. Now you have Baroness armed with both pistols. And another unique feature about the Classified Series figures is they have holsters throughout some of the figures. Well, she has holsters in the back here, which are functioning holsters that kind of hold these pistols, which is really nice, because if you remember the original 3 3/4 line from the 80s, from any toy line really, where they had molded detail where there was holsters and weapons in the holsters, unfortunately, since it's the molded detail, you couldn't draw the weapons out of them. Well, now with the advancements in technology, they're able to figure out a way to make holsters that hold weapons that kind of conform to the body, where it looks like natural part of the mold, which is very nice. So you get like a 2-for-1 bonus nowadays, where these holsters actually are functioning holsters with weapons, whether it be gun holsters, or if it's a sheath for a little blade. These figures can come armed to their teeth, which is really, really nice. Now, one thing that kind of bummed me about Baroness was, if you had the original figure, she came with a very large rifle, which they did include with this figure, but she had a backpack. And I know the retro Cardback figures are more based on 3 3/4 line from the 80s, and I figure they were going to try and pour over a lot of the accessories from the original figure. And I understand why they didn't really do it with this figure, because then they would have to do a separate head sculpt. And I say that because they bring in her rifle. And to me, this is the rifle I recall seeing her come with, because I did own an original Baroness back in the day. And she came with a very large rifle, which was kind of cool, because you have this beautiful woman who's able to arm this very large weapon. It was cool contrast, and just made her more appealing, that this lovely woman could arm herself and do a lot of damage with this large weapon. But she did come with a large rifle. And this isn't the rifle that's pictured on the box art, which is kind of confusing, but I do remember coming with a rifle. But there's a peg on the side of this rifle, and I'm guessing that peg is because all the G.I. Joe Classified Series figures have a little porthole in the back for backpacks. And if you were to store her or a rifle on her back, which is kind of hard to do because this hairpiece kind of gets in the way, but I'll try my best to do it. I'm going to peg it in, because you can store her weapon on her back, but the scope kind of gets in the way, and I don't know if I can do it with this weapon. I'll do it upside down. But what happens is, when you have the weapon stored, and there's not really a strapper over the shoulders, so it's kind of unrealistic to have this weapon just protrude on her back. But the weapon pushes her hairpiece up, so it kind of angles her head down a little bit. So for display purposes, it's not very appealing to have Baroness displayed with her weapon stored on her back. So I'm not sure why that peg is molded on the side of that rifle, but it is, and I'm guessing that's the only reason why, because there's no other portholes around Baroness's body, and there's not a separate head sculpt where you can interchange her head, where it conforms to the body still, where it's where you can have the weapon, sticking out of her back, where the hair is not not conforming to the shape of the rifle. So now I can understand why they didn't include the backpack, because then they had to do a separate hairpiece or headpiece. But or arm Baroness with this rifle, which is pretty hard because the stock is part of the handle right here, and you can't really fit the hand through this little hole and wrap it around this handle. So it's kind of difficult. So you it's kind of wonky how you have it armed. So So I'm going to pry the fist open, and I'm going to slide it right into that handle. And this is the only way you can really arm this rifle. So the stock is kind of on the inside of her forearm, which is very strange. And I mean, only other way I can see her kind of holding this weapon is just holding it for display purposes, where she's holding the rifle, where I can just slide that in there and have her hand hold that piece right there, or she's holding this rifle, which is very strange looking, you know. So I'm going to put this off to the side, because the weapon on the packaging is actually this weapon right here. And I mean, like I said, this isn't a traditional looking weapon because it is designed by Destro. But in order to arm Baroness with this rifle, same thing, you just slide the handle into the hand and you put the index finger into the trigger, just like that, and now you have Baroness armed with her laser rifle, which is what it's called in the description. Very cool. And this figure is very nice. I'm going to take this rifle off because it's kind of loose in her hand. So I want to go over some of the detail on this figure. I mean, she's got like chest plate armor, gauntlet, shoulder pads, and her boots are all like painted out of a black silver paint, like very glossy paint. So it kind of gives it that armor look, or that hard shell look. Because the other parts of her armor kind of have that texture where it looks like it's either latex or some sort of spandex or rubber, or some sort of rubber armor, which is very nice because it has that unique feature, and it carries on even under her hair detail, which is really nice. They really went above and beyond with this figure. And with all the points of articulation, you got double jointed knees, double jointed elbow, you got wrist, you got pelvis, you got chest, neck. This figure is a very beautifully done figure, and unfortunately this figure was very limited in production because it was a Walmart exclusive, because I think this is more of an experiment with the retro cardback figures. They released 4 of them in Walmart first before they went mainline with them, and I think other retailers may have gotten some exclusives when it came to the retro cardback figures, but with Destro, Gung Ho, Lady J, and Baroness, they're only exclusive to Walmart, unfortunately. So, I mean, for a while there, I know like Lady J was the first figure in this line, and she was a peg warmer. Then Baroness came out, and it was both Baroness and Lady J. And Lady J was slowly phased out. Then Gung Ho came out, then Destro came out. And I never thought I would get my hands on a Destro. But fortunately now Destro is the peg warmer, and you're not going to really find Baroness, Lady J, or Gung Ho on pegs right now. Gung Ho you might find, but these figures are just fantastic. And I know I moved on to like the other ones like Duke and Scarlet. And I'm trying to get my hands on Zartan, but these figures are fantastic. So I'm kind of moving away from the mainline Classified Series figures to the retro cardback, because that's more what I associate myself with, my childhood memories. And I love the fact that the mainline figures are trying to modernize a lot of the 80s figures to what they might look like now. But I mean, Destro looks like Destro. I mean, there's no way you can modernize how Destro looks. And even with Baroness, when they tried out Baroness in that G.I. Joe Snake Eyes movie where they kind of updated her look a little bit, I still find the retro version of Baroness more appealing. But I'm going to rotate her around so you can see what she looks like from all angles. If you guys really found the information in this review valuable, please like and share this video. Also, if you really enjoy my content, please subscribe to my channel, and while you're there, click the bell to be notified of any future videos. I want to thank you guys for watching Red Steele's Awesome Toy Collector Review. I'll check you guys out next time.